All right, we're back again. So I'm just gonna tell you a few things about the cooling system. Summer is coming. I know I ride in the winter sometimes. Most of my riding is in winter. I don't know why, but I like it. There's a lot of crowd in the winter, in the summer, and it's hotter. Your machine's gonna run hotter. You want to make sure it cools as best as you can get that thing to cool, especially when you're in that long stoplight. Stoplight don't want to change, and you're waiting, and your bike going up to 216. You hear that fan come on. You feel the hot air on your legs. You know that fan's running. All right, so check this out. I see these marks right here. I was kind of concerned that the radiator was bad, because anytime I see this, whether a truck or a car, I see any type of discoloration right here, I start assuming, hey, maybe that radiator is bad, right? But this just seems like water. Yeah, that's just water. So we're not gonna pay that much mind. Now we know there's coolant inside here, so if it was coolant, it would be coolant and not water. It's all right. See that right there? I would change this coolant. I mean, the manual says you're supposed to change it every so interval. I don't know. I'm not gonna say because I'm not sure for every machine it's different, right? So this here is the reservoir. Try not to let this run empty, because if you let this run empty, what's gonna happen is your cooling system was hot. You park the bike, it cools down, it's gonna start pulling fluid from here. Because yeah, this cap has a spring inside there. So check it out, watch this. So there's action that happens that when it cools, it's gonna pull fluid from here. Come all the way up and refill this. This is why it's called a reservoir. Fluid gets hot. The coolant is gonna expand some, not the entire fluid, but the system. It gets hot. Clearances and tolerance is gonna change. You're gonna have fluid. System is pressurized. Excessive pressure. This is gonna open and allow fluid to flow through here and come back here instead of blowing up your coolant lines or maybe damaging your water pump. So you want to keep this filled. No, sorry, not filled, but the correct level, which is for this GSX-R 750 and most GSX-R, you see the L and the F. You want to keep it right at the F. All right. So now, let's say you changed water pump or you changed lines. I see them with them nice coolant lines that's made of silicone, which is really good. So let's say you change that, or you change your coolant, your entire system was empty. I see it happens a lot of times. Guys fill the darn radiator up and just close the cap. Start your bike. Oh yeah, your bike's ready, take it, go. The guy comes back, overheating problems. That is not the way. And I'm gonna tell you why. Once you empty this system, no, fluid was present. Once that fluid leaves, air is gonna take the place of that fluid. You will not see the air because you can't see air, but the air will take the space. You fill it up, there gonna be air inside there once you fill this thing back. Oh, definitely, always gonna be air inside the system once you refill this radiator once it was empty, right? Or if your reservoir run dry and you was riding for a long term, there's gonna be air inside here. And once there's air, you're not gonna have proper cooling. And you're gonna have a lot of pressure building up inside your lines. It's no good. Water pump seal, coolant lines, all that stuff probably will get compromised. So the proper way is you fill the system right up to the neck. Don't overfill, right up to the neck right here. I know there are tools where you would screw onto here and you fill it, but let's say you had your fairings on. I know the fairings off right now, so everything looks easy. But guys with the fairing off on, this also applies to every bike, cars, truck, no matter what it is. All it has a radiator. So you're gonna fill the thing up to about right here. You're gonna put your tray or whatever. If you're outside, we want to protect the environment, so we gotta let that coolant drip into something so it doesn't get anywhere else. So you fill it up, you start the machine, you let it run, get it up to temperature. I'd say fan comes on at 212 for some bikes, 216 for some bikes. I've seen 217. So I would run it till the fan comes on with the cap off if you can. But if you see fluid coming up and it's getting crazy, you can close it, but there's still gonna be air. But just try not to rev the bike either. Just let it idle. Just let it idle and heat up by itself. Just don't rev it. Just leave it alone. Just let it, run by itself. And then you're gonna observe right here, and you're gonna see all those air bubbles start coming up, all the way up from wherever they were hiding. Start coming up right here. And that's how you're gonna know, hey, my system, it definitely had air and it's coming out right now. So you're gonna observe and let it run until all that air is gone. Then you're gonna cover it up. If your reservoir is empty, you're gonna fill it to the proper level, which is at the F, right? And you let it idle still, right? You let it idle, you let that fan comes on, and that's a perfect opportunity to make sure your fan is working properly also. Sometimes you want to come here and just to feel the blade, just stick your finger in there and just kind of just push that fan, make sure it's still good. I don't feel any resistance in any direction. Some fans, you may have a little funky sound in one direction. That's because of the type of fan it is. It's only meant to spin in one direction. If you try to put it the other way, you're gonna get a little bit of sounds. So you want to make sure that's good. This one is nice and smooth. I like it. Also, you can spin it and just shine your light in there and make sure none of those blades are damaged. Because if the blade is damaged, the assembly is going to be unbalanced. And once the assembly is unbalanced, it's going to wobble. Once it wobbles, it can come apart, it can break apart, it can damage your radiator. We don't want that, right? So that's that for that. And yeah, you know what? Another thing, see right here, some of you guys, you may look on your bike and you see these green escaping from right here. It looks green a little bit around here, especially where the material is, the fiber material on the hose. I'd replace the hose. I mean, if you want to do things by the book, do it tip top, make it done properly. The best thing is to do is replace the hose, because that hose is now leaking from the ends. I've seen it a lot of times. So times you wanna, if you do any preventive maintenance like I am right now, you have all the fairings off, you go with your screwdriver. Yeah, you can use a screwdriver. I like to use the socket that fits here so I can feel everything in my hands. So you don't want to over tighten them, but you go through them and you snug on it a little bit. Do not use a 3/8 wrench. Use a quarter, because 3/8 is so heavy, you can't get to feel everything. You want to feel the tension that you're applying, the pressure you're applying and the tension that is given back. You want to feel all of that. So use a 1/4 inch drive. So you snug on it a little bit, snug on all of these, because believe it or not, these holes they shrink a little bit. So you want to keep up with them by just applying a little bit more torque. So you go through the whole bike and you do that. Hair, you want to make sure hair is good to you. You don't want it to pull any air between this joint right here. So you want to make sure this guy is good. I mean, it's not really tight, because pressure doesn't build. It's more like vacuum. But I'd say this is good enough. I'm applying good amount of pressure just to turn this right here. So I'd say that's good. If it's missing, for God's sake, just order one and put it back. The thing is cheap. Or if you don't want to order one, go to the bike shop, let it take one off some junk bike or something. But make sure that's there, right? Make sure this line isn't pinched either. I've seen where bikes drop and these lines get pinched or they get grazed and have holes in them. Guys don't pay attention to that, and you have problems in the cooling system after a while. So you want to make sure that's good. You see this bottom one right here too? I know you might have reservoir in a different location and some bikes in a different setup. I mean, basically the same applies everywhere. This right here for sport bikes, it's really important. Cable routing and all these holes, they're very important, because check this out. If you didn't have this on, or if this is missing, this, let's say you overfill this or something's going on with your cooling system and this starts spraying out, and fan's gonna be on your bike, you know, gonna have leakage right here, it's gonna drip on your tire. Oh, you don't want that coolant on your front wheels. Trust me, you don't want it there. You don't want it on your brake either, because coolant is kind of oily, and we know what happens with oil and front brakes and front tires. So prevent that from happening. So you want to make sure this line, no matter what bike, as long as you have this overflow spout, you want to make sure this line is right here, properly routed all the way down, come into a safe position where once it drips, it doesn't get everywhere. Yeah, I know if you have like a serious problem, a lot is gonna just pour out from here, the wind is gonna blow it on your rear tire. Yeah, you're gonna have problems. So just pay attention to when you fill this thing. Look for the L and the F that indicates the low, well, low and the full, right? So let's see if there's something else that I could, you know, probably point out. So water pump. Sometimes the chain will come, you know, come apart, and maybe slap that water pump and break it apart. Everybody got their own method of doing repairs and so forth. Oh yeah, see that bolt right there? Oh wait, hold on, let me hold this bike up. This bolt right here. You know, most bikes is gonna be on the water pump or somewhere very close to the water pump. This bolt is to drain it. It's a nice way to drain the coolant system. You just put a bucket right here and just let it spit all the way out. And as the pressure decreases, you got to push that bucket closer, because you know the spray pattern is going to be shorter, so you want to have that bucket closer. If you have something that's long enough, use that. So this pump, I don't know if it has a weep hole. Let's try to get under there. See, yeah, see that weep hole right there? Whenever you have a problem, you have coolant leaking from this side, that weep hole is where the oil might come from or the coolant might come from. If you have oil dripping out of that weep hole, you know that oil, that seal that prevents the oil from mixing with the coolant, you know you have a problem there. Or vice versa. Sometimes it could be oil, sometimes it's coolant. You know, you take that out, you replace it. Right? And that's it. Oh, the radiator. This is not so bad, but you know, most bikes you'll have dust here, you'll have dirt here, especially dirt bikes. You'll have butterflies, dragonflies, all kind of flies there that you ride and collect. So the nice way to get rid of that is, you know, you could use compressed air. But if you don't have the compressed air, the best way is to get some degreaser and carefully degrease this entire surface. Try not to damage these fins, because once you see they get like this and they start laying down flat like these spots, you won't have air passing through to absorb all that heat or properly dissipate the heat. So try not to damage the fins, let them be nice and straight. So spray the entire thing down with degrease and let it sit for maybe like 30 minutes. You know, take the hose to it, all over it. And then you can come on this side too if you can reach. And I've got the fairings off right now. It's better to perform maintenance with the fairings off, honestly. I know some bikes it's hard to get them off, but that's like the best way, the ultimate best way, because once you do this, if you have another problem, you'll see it, right? So best thing, just strip the bike. You know, you on a Saturday, you know, you get your Heineken or your Guinness or whatever and just, you know, sip as you take the thing apart and make sure everything's nice. Don't get drunk and do it though. That's not recommended. So yeah, you can clean your fins like that and make sure you have sufficient air flowing through that radiator so that, you know, you have good cooling if you're stopped or you know, you ride in, you want to make sure that cooling system is good. And yeah, for God's sake, please do not remove your thermostat. You can, it's your bike, you can do whatever you want with it, but I don't recommend removing that thermostat. Whether you're in a tropical country or a tropical state, just don't remove that thermostat. Leave it alone. If you suspect it's bad, replace it. Simple. The most expensive one I ever seen is probably like $40. Just spend $40 and replace the thermostat. It's there for a reason. It's manufactured like that for a reason. So leave it alone. Don't take it out and say, oh, you don't need it. It's there. They put it there for a reason. Cool? All right.